Welcome to the Black Design Collective. My name is Lola Wusu, and we are here with Tiffany Scott Clemente. She is a Los Angeles native and has worked here for almost every aspect of the fashion industry. It's kind of amazing. I can't wait to get into this story, but she's worked from couture, junior knitwear, manufacturing, wholesaling, costuming for commercials and film. Tiffany Scott Clemente is an editorial costumer for Regard magazine and continues to work with private celebrity clients and red carpet and PR shoots. She just is a wealth of industry in one person, and I'm very excited to meet her and get to know her. So, hi, welcome.
Good morning. Hi, thank you for having me. This is very exciting for me too. I mean, you don't often get to kind of tell your story. So let's
Well,
go.
thank you. And I love your hair first and foremost, and your glasses. I just love this whole look. It's all the things I needed to do. So,
Say the color will be changing in the next week or so. So who knows where I'm going next.
well, I like this one. It's giving me life.
Thank you.
So, where are you located right now, and where? And
Well, currently I live in San Pedro. Is that the question? Or where am I at, in my home?
both. Where
Yeah,
you in San Pedro? Where in your home? Is this like where you work out of? Is this like I see the couch? Is this a living space? It's curiosity.
present. Well, I actually have the whole house is my studio. If you ask my husband, he's like, no closet belongs to him. There is no space that is not somehow imbued with my fashion stuff, be it stacks of books or be it my eBay and Poshmark businesses, be it my design. I've got a studio downstairs,
Wow.
but the dining room table is getting ready to turn into a factory of upcycling beautiful one-of-a-kind denim jackets. So I just, I'm waiting for a girlfriend of mine to move down from the Bay Area so we can get a studio space together because we just kind of feed off each other.
Oh, that's
And I
amazing.
think that'll be a great opportunity to start another new chapter.
Love it. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I want to know more about this new chapter, but let's get back to the origin. So you started sewing at 8. When was your like, okay, aha, this is what I'm gonna do with my life. I'm gonna work in fashion. What was that moment?
It's weird because thinking about that, I don't think I ever really had an aha moment, except that um, once I learned how to sew, I would go home every day when I was in high school and I'd make a new outfit to wear the next day. Yeah, I know it was crazy. Who has that kind of time?
Yeah.
Plus, I was top 10 in my class. So it was crazy, but it just seemed like fashion was just kind of ever present, always there.
Yeah.
I always liked fabrics. I love buying fabrics. I loved old movies, so I love the glamour of fashion because initially I wanted to be an interpreter to the president. I just wanted to learn all these languages, and that was my goal. And I was like,
Wow.
it sounds like a really cool job, but I think the fashion bug just bit me, and off I went. So I had been accepted to Brooks College in my senior year,
Okay.
and I met someone who said, "Don't go there. Go to Trade Tech for a year. Go to Trade Tech." So that's what I did. And what happened is in between my first and second year at Trade Tech, I went to a manufacturer for a fit model to apply for a fit model. And we were talking. He said, "Well, what do you really want to do?" I said, "Well, I want to be a designer." And he said, "If you want to be a designer, the school you need to go to is Otis Parsons." I said, "Okay, that sounds great." He said, "And if you get in, I will provide you with a scholarship."
Wow.
And he did. I did. And he did. And it's so crazy because I'm not a person that was a good illustrator.
Hmm.
So when I went in for my portfolio interview, I had a rack of clothes with me,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
and that rack of clothes is what enabled me to get in, because it most certainly was not my drawing skills. I got D- in my first drawing class at Otis. So,
But you can make clothes every day, so.
right, I can make clothes every day. I mean, I finally think I got up to about a B- in drawing. And for me, that was totally winning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's most improved.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you really like got into this education world. Like you just said that you were at Otis, you um and the Institute of Parsons School of Design, and
Let
then
me tell you the whole name as it was back then.
okay.
The Otis Art Institute of Parsons School of Design, the new school for social research. That's a whole lot.
That's a whole lot.
So Otis Parsons, is what we cut it down to. And right now, the schools eventually split up. So of course it's just Otis,
Yeah.
which is out in Westchester now, which is, still an amazing place.
Exactly. Oh, that is amazing. And then after that, you were the first African American graduate, correct?
Yes. I mean, because the program had just kind of started maybe a year or two before I got there. There had been other African American students, but they did like a 2-year program and things like that. Getting through that 4-year program it was one of the most difficult things I had ever done. Because I grew up in Inglewood, and while we had a very sort of mixed environment at my high school, it was predominantly African American.
Yeah.
So I went from that and jumped right into the pool of privilege, and having had that the artistic training they had that I did not have. And it was kind of a different world. I kind of felt like the chocolate chip and a loaf of white bread.
Wow.
There were not a lot of students of color back there in the 80s. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, congratulations and thank you for um, paving that way.
You're
So then
welcome.
after that, you attended Pepperdine and you got an MBA.
I attended Pepperdine. Yes, I did. I thought that it was important. I love education. I love learning. And I thought, okay, now I've got this, BA, and I'm doing all this. Let's see what I can do with an MBA.
Yeah.
What I learned is that the industry didn't know what to do with me and my BA. And so me going for an MBA was like, I got 3/4 of the way through the program, and I stopped because I was just fed up. I was fed up with the professors. I didn't think that they say that, they have people that are the real world. They didn't feel like the real world to me, or at least they didn't feel like my real world. So I stopped after, like I said, I got 3/4 of the way through the program. I should finish an MA or something.
I mean, you're doing well for what it is. It's just so interesting. Like what instilled this love for education and pursuing higher education in general for you? I mean, you said you wanted to be an interpreter, so like, and then
And I speak a couple languages, So I was the kid in my family that my mother, people would say, well, where's Tiffany? And my mother would say she's somewhere in the corner with her nose stuck in a book.
That's okay.
So I've always been a reader. It's just such a wonderful and easy way to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
To escape into a fantasy, to visit unknown lands, to learn, a new weird fact.
Yeah.
So I'm a knowledge person and I'm a word person. I love words. Yeah.
I love that. So how is that translated into this world of fashion that you are in?
How has that well, most people that meet me are they're surprised with the amount of fashion knowledge that I have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, today, with the advent of social media, etc., you have a lot of people who are in the eye,
Mm,
who are, doing all the big celebrities who are, but they don't know a thing about fashion.
that is.
They don't know the fashion history. They don't know fit. It's just it can be very disheartening. I've got, like I said, I've got all this wealth of knowledge,
Yeah.
but I don't put a lot of, I guess it's not a lot of gloss on it. And so it's like, I say this, I look at red carpets and I'm like, really? It's, you have to, if you want to be respected, if you want to do something well, you really need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You
I,
need to know body type. You need to know what's going to look good on someone who's, 6'6". You need to know if it's a curvy girl, what's going to look good.
right.
And my motto is, if you don't have fit, you don't have fashion,
Mm,
period. You can have on the most expensive $100,000 gown you want to, but if the strap is too loose and it's making your boob sag,
yeah.
you might as well have put on $100 dress. So
I can see that. And that is, as you're saying, interesting way that the industry has continued to like morph, especially because, it's the part of it that's interesting to me is the fact that knowledge is at our fingertips now. And while the knowledge is at our fingertips now, it's kind of hard. It makes it reliable for the user to actually get the knowledge, as opposed to like, you know, formal school and formal education and all those things, and not even just the formality of it, but just learning from somebody who's touched fashion in a different way from the past, in a very real, tangible way, which is another reason why I like doing these chats, because, everyone has a different experience.
yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure.
So you've done so much with, again, the couture into, what was your transition like with getting work after school and working in these manufacturing houses? Like what was that transition to now costume design?
Oh boy, let's see. I have to be, I'll tell you this. Some of the people in the fashion industry, in the manufacturing aren't very nice.
Mm-hmm.
They don't treat the people that work for them in a kind fashion. And I'm not referring to myself. I'm referring to sewers and pattern cutters, shipping, people that are in the production side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of sensitive that way. And so if I see someone being mistreated,
Yeah.
and I don't see improvement, it's not an environment I choose to keep myself in. So I've probably sabotaged myself a bit
Okay.
by being that way, but it's just the way I am.
Yeah.
I'm an empath, and I just absorb those kinds of things. And so at a certain point, the last company that I worked for was a junior knitwear company, and the lady just treated these people like they were on a plantation.
Oh, wow.
And she came at me with something silly.
Yeah.
And I said, ma'am, not today. I said, this whole situation was just not cool. It wasn't appropriate. I said, you need to apologize to me, and you need to start treating them differently, and then you won't have to worry about things coming up missing from your company.
Yeah.
So then I just it's actually weird. I was living in the valley at that point, and my neighbor that lived across the hallway from me was a production designer, and he saw what I could do, and he was like, you need to think about doing costuming, and hired me for a music video, and that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I
Yeah.
love that transition. And obviously, in turn, you said sabotage, but really it's more you're being truthful to yourself. You're only like elevating yourself into something in an environment that only yields like good and life as opposed to what
Yeah.
you were dealing with before. And I love that this all came from a neighbor.
Yeah. And we are still friends today.
I love that. It speaks to speaking life into people around you. That is beautiful. So you
Yeah.
tried it out. You were like, "What? I love this. I love this life." Well, like, how did you get into it? Like, there's a lot of the transition from a corporate manufacturing. This is how we do things setting to a costumer world. They do things very differently. I would assume
Yeah.
in everyday life.
Yeah, they do, but being a person that's always loved to do research and all of that, coming up with the characters and reading the scripts and hunting down the treasures and taking this budget of $2 and making it look like 1,000, that all appeals. That appeals to my, all of my sides.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great. So I could see that the transition, I guess there were some some benefits from what you were doing before in terms of creating systems and understanding like when to do research and creating these characters, but also the budgeting side of like we only have this amount of money, which is to me the hardest part.
Yeah, you can't be a costumer starting out, and not know how to be crafty and thrifty and creative. And the fact that I sew and design and do all of that, if I couldn't find something, I could always create it. I mean, literally, I made slippers on one production on the fly. The director comes and said, I need a pair of slippers. I
We
said,
didn't, we
give
didn't
me
talk about this.
give me half an hour. I'm gonna do something. I still have those little slippers to this day because I was so proud of myself for making these slippers on the fly,
On the fly.
on the fly, with no shoes in my hands.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So that is amazing that you have been able to do that. That's probably my favorite part is the fact that like scenes pop up, changes happen on set. Um, you know, Characters no longer like pink.
The
Doesn't go.
director hates jumpsuits. The director hates jumpsuits. He doesn't know why. And the jumpsuit looked great on this character. And the actress said, I want to wear this. But
Yeah,
he doesn't like jumpsuits.
it's
Okay.
gotta work on the fly. So that sounds like something obviously you're amazing at. And in terms of your like transition from that, the work aspect of it, yes, getting work. You tried it on the one set, but how did you make that a consistent part of your day, like a consistent part of your career from this one set that your neighbor sent you on to like, did you run into getting SAG? Like, how did you keep getting work?
I just the hustle of it all. I'm not in the union.
Mhm.
There was a time not so long ago when people of color stood no chance of getting in the union.
Right.
And there are so very few of them today. And at one point, I became disgusted with that process too and started teaching. So I went the total opposite way. I went into education. I was teaching special ed. I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But the administration of education
Mhm.
is not about the children. It's not
Mhm.
about the students. It's not really about the education. There's so much in between the learning and the paperwork of it all.
Oh,
So
wow.
eventually I went back to fashion.
Mhm.
And I've been freelance. So I don't just do costuming. I also do the fashion editorial styling. I have private clients. I teach, I have private students that I teach design to now, and I teach sewing. That was a byproduct, of course, of COVID.
Mhm.
Suddenly, everybody wants to learn how to do useful things. So I have students that I've been working with for the last couple years, and I really, I love seeing those aha moments in their heads, you know, when they get what it is, you know, that I'm teaching them. So yeah, it's not been easy. Being a freelance person is just never been easy.
It's always a hustle.
It's always a hustle.
But it's great that you've been able to not only channel the things that you love, but also teach and continue to get educated as at the same time.
Yes.
So what would you say, just for somebody who's probably watching, like, I wish she was my mentor. She seems so amazing and so cool and so knowledgeable. What is a characteristic that is key with the people that you mentor, in styling and wardrobe and really all many aspects of it, of this world? Like, what's a key factor of success?
They're hungry. You
Mm.
know, they're hungry and they have an enthusiasm for fashion. They're excited by it. They want to learn. It's I was last week I went to San Francisco to the DeYoung Museum to see the Patrick Kelly exhibit. It was phenomenal. It was joyful. It was it was everything. It was like walking back into a time capsule.
Mhm.
But one of the things that I noticed just about that exhibit was that it was joyful. And fashion doesn't have a lot of joy, it seems, anymore. It's all gotten so very serious. And so I like like I said, excitement. I want somebody that's excited, you know, don't just do it because it looks like a cool thing to do. I mean, love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
good. That is so good.
Mhm.
So we're gonna get into some personal questions to hear about you that I ask everybody at the end of these interviews. But the reason I ask this question is mainly because there's usually like a formula to success. And a lot of it happens to be with your everyday. So what is your everyday routine? Like, what time do you wake up in the morning? What time do you try to be in bed? What do you do in between time?
Okay, let's see. Being the Pisces that I am, cycles of being like the ultimate night owl.
Oh, okay.
And then right now I'm on the early bird tip. So I'm awake like at 4:30. I'm at my Pure Barre class by 5:45. I go through an hour of torture. If I don't do that, I might be running on the beach.
Yeah.
I definitely get in my exercise, you know, to keep, you know, in fashion is vanity. You got to keep it right. You got to keep it tight.
You know, I just told my trainer, I was like, there's a pair of pants that I haven't been able to fit in since pre-pandemic. I want to wear these pants.
And I don't have a scale in my house. I've never had one, but I do have that pair of pants.
Exactly.
So if you want to maintain your size, your weight, you keep that pair of pants, and when you can't fit, then you know what you need to do.
Exactly.
I try to eat very healthy. I love juicing. I'm a flexitarian. So I've done vegan, I've done vegetarian. I, I eat what my body says it wants, but I eat lots of vegetables and fruits and juices and plenty of water. And champagne is my favorite beverage.
I love, oh, we need to hang out. But I've also never heard flexitarian before. And I just,
I want a cookie. Okay. I want a nice burger. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
That is what I will continue to call myself. But I do, the eating right is definitely important, but also life, and champagne being your favorite beverage.
Yes,
My life.
and I have a wonderful therapist. You know, you need a disinterested third party to tell your troubles to.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and I actually have a hypnotherapist, and I have to tell you, it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
He cleared so much clutter out of my brain.
Wow.
So as people, as African Americans, it's normal.
Yeah,
It's normal. Your girlfriends don't know everything. They can't give you the right advice on everything because they might be dealing with the same trauma too.
exactly. And we all have these traumas that we're working towards or working through, but it's so important to have somebody who is, I love that, disinterested.
The third party, honey, come on in here. Tell me, tell me what's going on. And the person that I work with, he's just so, I mean, he is, I don't even know how he does what he does, except he loves what he does.
Okay.
And so he will take my most random thoughts, pull them together into a nice little circle,
Wow.
and help me reset, what I need to work on.
I love that.
So mental health is important because in this industry, people will have you thinking you crazy.
Yes. And half the time it's you.
And sometimes it is me, and I will admit when it's me. I don't have a problem telling people, yeah, I'm a little crazy.
We all are though.
Right. I own up to it.
How do we deal with our crazy is really what it is.
Yeah. And if you find other members in your tribe that kind of like your crazy and all your crazies like vibe together,
it's just one lovely.
That's when you know you've got your tribe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your tribe is important to you, I'm assuming, in terms of like the people around you that you surround yourself with.
Yes.
I could feel that already. Like I know that you.
But I have friends from kindergarten.
Wow.
That's a long time ago. I'm not gonna tell you how long. And I've got my college friends and I've got my friends that I've gathered along the way. And it's weird, but now I find myself in a phase of gathering more fashion friends.
I love this.
Yeah, more fashion friends, people who have history in the industry, but then also gathering younger fashion friends because I just love their energy.
I love this. This is
Yeah.
This is fantastic. So, do you have any? I know you've given us so many good gems already in terms of like practical tools and practices. Are there any like books or tech apps or anything that help you improve yourself, your daily?
Tech? Okay. I can't answer that with a tech app because I find myself once again learning every day. But being a person who came from going to the Dewey Decimal Guide and the library and the Reader's Guide to periodicals and looking at microfiche, sometimes these technical apps and things throw me for a loop, but I keep trying. Study. I mean, like I said, I love watching old movies, and the fashion and the preciseness of the tailoring and
the fit.
It's just learn history, learn your fashion history, learn who some of the good designers are. Go to a museum and be inspired. When I was in school, they would take us. I had one professor who took us to the cemetery. My art and history professor. He took us to the cemetery and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
And he said, just look around you. What do you see? You see art. You see beautiful sculpture. You see stained glass. You see nature. So it developed in me a lifelong love of visiting cemeteries when I travel.
That is a first for me.
Wow. I know.
And I'm thinking about it now, and you're right. It's just there's beauty everywhere.
And also
very intentional beauty too.
Yeah, it's peaceful. Yeah. Which is, another reason. There's never ruckus or chaos.
Yeah.
It's nature, it's peaceful. Usually there's a body of water. You can just sit there, you can sketch. Wow. You can, it's an odd thing and it's an odd place to go.
It makes so much sense now that you're saying it.
Dr. Jack Hanford, we all adored him. He was cranky and crotchety. He the best pattern making book ever in the world. So if a Dr. Hanford's pattern making book, if you can get your hands on that, you got something, you know. But yes, surround yourself with other people who are curious too.
Yeah, I love that. So what are you the most proud of in yourself?
That I get up every day and I keep trying.
That's good.
And that I find lots of joy in helping others. My husband and I have a nonprofit. I love my dream job would be to be a billionaire philanthropist. If I could just fix things and help people, that would be the dream job. I love fashion, but if I could be a billionaire philanthropist, honey, I'd be gone. I'd be digging wells, I'd be building schools, I'd be teaching people how to sew. I would, that's my thing, to help people.
Throughout all your whole story of even your transitions, everything had to do with people and helping people, and you helping and not feeling easy unless there was like justice for people who couldn't help themselves. So I can see that. What's the name of your nonprofit?
It's called Kelty Outreach. It's a combination of my name and my husband's name. So our ultimate goal is to build a school and teach young folks of color how to, different positions and jobs in the entertainment industry. So I'd love to have a costuming department, directing, all of that kind of thing, so that we can show them, another side of the industry rather than just spending your money and going to the movies and like that.
I love it. I'm looking forward to hearing more about it.
Thank you.
What are you the most proud of in people and community?
Oh, I'm very proud of the young generation. I'm proud of the fact that they are standing on their beliefs, that they're not accepting the okie doke, and that they are fighting for each other's right to be.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love these questions because one, oftentimes we forget to take inventory of what we've done. And after hearing your amazing story, like there's a time to like really think about how proud you are, but then also there's so much craziness happening in this world that like we often hear about the negativity. So it's always lovely to hear a reinforcement of pride in the community around us. So thank you for that. Yeah. And the last question I have is probably my favorite question. If you were a pair of shoes, which one would you be and why?
Okay, this is gonna be something else weird perhaps. I would be a pair of leopard cowboy boots.
I love calf hair, or
yes, I'm gonna be politically incorrect. It's gonna be some calf hair. A nice leopard print. I love cowboy boots. I always have. They're practical. It is probably the best piece of footwear that you can wear in terms of supporting your foot and your ankles.
Yeah.
So there's that. They're stylish. Everybody's got their thing. You like a square toe, you like a point toe. I like them all. Yeah. I love the mixing of the skins. So you've got a little ostrich, you got, and it's just like, not everybody is comfortable with cowboy boots. It's like, yeah, they're shit kickers. Sometimes you need to kick some shit out your way. I'm just saying. But you can take a pair of cowboy boots and you can literally wear it with everything from cutoff shorts to an evening gown, depending on how you do it. So
true.
For me, it's like I like to travel with a pair of cowboy boots because, like I said, they're practical. I heard this a long time ago. If a plane ever goes down, you want to have some boots. You want to have boots. I mean, they could be combat boots. They could be any kind of boots.
Yeah.
But, depending on the terrain where you land in, if you've got boots on,
it's fine.
You'll be all right. You have a better chance than a person with a pair of flip-flops on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know.
True. I love it. I feel like that question reveals so much about the people I'm speaking with, and I just love it. And I now am on the hunt for a pair of leopard print cowhide.
Right? And a size 8.5 will work. I can put on a thick pair of socks.
Okay, I'm a 10, so if anyone's watching and wanna
IG,
let us
DM.
know. The last question I'm gonna ask is, where can people find you and keep abreast of all the amazing work you're doing?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. I have 2 different accounts. One is TGA Tiffany Stylist, and the other is Tiffany Style Curator. Yeah, or you can go to my website, TiffanyScottClemente.com.
Lovely. Well, I hope everyone does. Your
Me
work is
too.
beautiful. Can't wait to see what you're doing with this denim that you mentioned earlier. Like there's so many things I want to know. So looking forward to keeping up with you. But thank
Yeah.
you for joining us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been fun. It's been a real treat.
Thank you. Likewise. Yes.
I didn't know you were going to get that this morning, and I haven't even had a sip of champagne.
You know, but I will tonight. And when you do, cheers.
Cheers. Absolutely.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.